In this video, we're going to continue our discussion of finding equations of lines. How this is going to be different is that they're going to give us 2 points. So our steps is that we have to find the slope first using this slope formula. Remember that rise over the run, or the difference of the y values of the difference of the x values. Then we need to pick one point out of the 2 that they've given us. It doesn't matter which one you pick. And we're going to use that point-slope formula. Then we need to write our answers in slope-intercept form, if possible. And remember, that's that y equals mx plus b. So let's just go through those steps. So we want an equation of a line that passes through these 2 points. Now how do we find the slope? Well, that's a good review. Remember, in a previous video, I suggested that you write those 2 points underneath one another so you won't confuse your x's and your y's. So our slope is the difference of the y's divided by the difference of the x's. And a negative over a negative would be a positive. So that's our m. Now we need to pick one point. It doesn't matter which one you pick, but I think I'm going to pick this one because there's no negative signs. Maybe I'll make less mistakes. So I'm going to use my point slope formula. I have my point 47, and remember that's x1, y1, and then this is my m. So I have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. The rest of it is just now doing a little bit of rearranging, getting rid of fractions to solve for y. So I'm going to choose to get rid of my fraction by multiplying by the denominator. So I want to distribute my 5, and on this side, remember the 5's cancel, and I want to distribute that numerator. Next step, I'm just going to add 35 to both sides. Then the last step is to divide by 5. So notice my answer, my slope is 4/5, which is the same as what I started out with. That's a good check. And just to remind everybody that the y-intercept of this line would be 19/5. Let's go through one more example. So we want to find the slope. So again, I'm going to line my points up. So my slope is -4 minus a -1 over 3 minus a -5. So I have my slope of -3/8, and I'm going to pick one point. Doesn't matter, they both have some negatives, but I think I'll pick this one since it has less negatives. So here's my point, that's that x1 and y1. Now I'm going to use that formula, y minus y1 equals my slope times x minus x1. Then I'm going to choose to get rid of my fractions, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. I'm going to distribute that 8. Remember, negative and negative is plus, so that's 32. Here the 8's cancel. Now this is where you need to be careful. Don't lose that negative -3 I'm going to distribute. Negative times a negative here is +9. So I'm going to subtract 32, and I'm going to divide by 8. And notice that my slope here is the same as the slope I started out with. That's not a guarantee 100% check that I didn't make any mistakes, but at least I know I'm on the right road. And then of course this would be my y-intercept. Let's look at these 2 examples side by side. So we've got 2 points. So I line them up. 5, -6, and -3, -6. These are my x's, these are my y's. So I have 0 divided by 8. 0 divided by any number besides 0 is 0. Now that's very important. What kind of line has a slope of 0? It's horizontal. I could go through the same process and pick a point and plug it into the formula, but that's really not the route to go. You should know if it's a horizontal line, the equation of a horizontal line is y equals to a number. Well, what number? Well, look at what y is. They happen to be the same. That's what makes it horizontal. There's your answer. In fact, if you recognize that those y values are the same, you can bypass all this work and just write down the answer, y equals to negative 6. Let's look at this one. So again, I'm going to line up my 2 points. I'm going to find my slope, difference of the y's over the difference of the x's, and I get negative 12 divided by 0. But I can't divide by 0. So that tells me my slope is undefined. Even if I wanted to plug it into a formula, I can't. That's not a number. I can't plug in a word. I need to know that undefined slopes with vertical lines, and equations of vertical lines are always x equals to some number. Well, what number would that be? Well, look at here. It's the same x value. In fact, that's what makes it a vertical line. That's our answer. So once again, if you recognize that the x values are the same, you can bypass all of this and just write down your answer. I would encourage that.